Good evening, everybody. I'm so excited y'all are joining us this evening because we've got some great things to talk about. And in just one second, I'm going to introduce Miss Linda to you. But I've got a little bit of housekeeping to do real quick before we do that. If you aren't following me on YouTube on Redneck Rhapsody and you're watching me on Rumble or Cloud Hub, please go over there and give us a follow. And whatever platform you're on, give us a like or a thumbs up, or, everybody's got their own thing. But I do that because I have figured out since our last Friday show, Rumble censored us. So I just want to cover all my bases. And when we put anything out there, we want to make sure everybody has a way of finding us as things shift and sift and sort in the business. And I will do a reminder at the end, but just to let everybody know, Patriot in the Park will be on with me at 11:30. No. 11:30 Pacific time, his time. It'll be 1:30 Central tomorrow. I have Stacy Z that will be on with me at 10 Central Thursday morning. And then we will do our regular show on Friday with a special guest, Dr. Randy. Shannon will be on with me the first 20 or 30 minutes. And then we will have lots of intel and updates for y'all after that with Dallas and Christine and I. So that's all the housekeeping I've got. And I want to introduce y'all to Nurse Linda. She was with us to do our very first Lifewave education video a couple of weeks ago. I ended up getting in some of the newer patches that are new to me patches since then. And I started wearing the Aeon at bedtime. I've had it before, but I just didn't reorder it because I wasn't sure. But after you talked to me about inflammation and sleep, I now wear it when I sleep, and I went to wear my glutathione 24 hours a day, every other day. So I did change my habits, and I'm just going to tell everybody I've been sleeping really sound when I sleep. You know how sometimes you're broken, except when everybody in my audience knows Charlie. And we had thunder and lightning day before yesterday at 4:15. Yeah, nothing's gonna sleep. You're not gonna sleep when Charlie doesn't sleep. So, yeah, but it's been doing great. So, Miss Linda, how's your week been?
I'm busy as usual, getting ready for a water garden tour. So I'm doing a lot of outdoors work.
Oh, wow. So you must have a beautiful landscaped area.
Well, we moved here about a year ago, and we're trying to get this one up to par with our last one. So it's taking a little bit of patience.
Well, I understand that. We had a water garden. We had a fountain out front. Well, the fountain now is a flower bed and in the backyard. And where the fountain was in the backyard that had fish and the bamboo, the umbrella bamboo growing out of it. And, it was all beautiful. It now has rocks, and the old fountain that was in the front sits where the old pond is with flowers coming out of it. So does that tell you how well I like keeping up a water garden? Yeah, I'm bad. I'm sorry. I love looking at them, but maintaining them, not so much. Not so much. So, do y'all open that up for people to come tour, or is it like a fundraiser for people?
It's for a non-for-profit, the Water Garden Society of Greater Kansas City, and what they do is with the proceeds, then they build ponds at schools for kids for education and for non-for-profits to beautify Kansas City, and they also fund their fish rescue project.
Nice. So
Yeah.
that covers a lot of bases. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that's successful, and I'm sorry you're having to do it in the worst heat that is the worst time of the year for all the heat. We had a lot of people that tuned in over the last couple of weeks and caught our first show, which for everybody that's tuning in for the first time tonight, it was an overview of Lifewave and the perspective of what the patches do for you, how they work, what they do for your body. And if you don't get all the information you want covered tonight, because we're going to focus in on X39 and X49 and what they do. But we encourage you to go back and catch that last one where it's kind of the brief overview. And then the next time we get together, we're going to cover a couple of other patches that we'll give a lot more information on. So it's all yours, Miss Linda.
Perfect. Okay. Well, we're going to start with X39. And this is kind of the big patch that we have that kind of encompasses everything. This is the first stem cell generating patch or regenerating patch that the company came out with. And it came out in 2019. So it is the third generation of patches because it does the stem cells. And what it actually does is it raises a level of a GHKU or GHKCU, which is a copper peptide. And what this peptide does is phenomenal. And when we're getting older, our GHKCU actually decreases by about 60%. And as our stem cells do about the same thing. So as our copper peptide is decreasing, our stem cells is following that same line. So by the time you're 35, you've lost 50% of your stem cells. They're sitting there dormant. And by the time we're 60, we've lost around 90%. And you can imagine after that, what happens. So what happens is this GHKCU, this copper peptide, it starts to fade away. So with the invention of this stem cell patch, which this is what it is, it's a small little patch, it starts to activate this. We've already got it circulating in our bloodstream, but it's just not at the levels that it needs to be so that we're getting all of the benefits. So what this copper peptide actually does, it increases your stem cells for one thing. It activates over 4,000 genes to a more youthful level. So therefore, it's actually restructuring your genes. It promotes your organ regeneration. It repairs your DNA damage and promotes DNA repair. It produces anti-aging effects at a cellular level. It protects skin cells from your UV radiation. It stimulates the production of collagen. That's where we're getting our fine lines and wrinkles and everything. It suppresses the production of fibrogen, which reduces the tendency of forming blood clots in your circulatory system. It stimulates wound healing at a really, really increased rate. It reduces inflammation and free radical damage. It promotes hair growth and thickens, enlarges your hair follicles. It reduces your pain, reduces your anxiety. That's probably why I'm calm right now when I have a tour in 2 weeks that I'm totally not ready for. It improves blood flow in your tissues, tightens and loose skin, and increases the thickness of aging skin. You know how when you get old, you get all the, well, that's because we've lost this copper peptide. It improves our skin firmness, the elasticity, reduces the appearance of your fine lines, depth of wrinkles, and it reduces photo damage, the hyperpigmentation and different things on your skin. So you can see this copper peptide does so many things that cause us to get old. And as we are decreasing with it, we start to age. And so I don't know about the rest of the world, but I don't like to age, and I don't like to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to do things to me that I don't know what it's going to do. So with this patch, you apply the patch, you put it on, you wear it for 12 hours a day, and it starts regenerating or elevating this copper peptide. And that copper peptide starts the regeneration of those stem cells. And with the regeneration of those stem cells, then that's what we see, all of these things that I just read on this list, everything starts working, but at a much younger age. And so that's where we see our reverse in our aging.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm wearing mine steady, y'all. You're going to just tune in one day and you're going to go, my gosh, she's looking fabulous. It's because I'm going to be reducing my age spots from the sun, my sun damage, and we'll be firming. And yep, there you go.
Right.
I'm claiming it.
Yes, and we all need to, especially once we hit that 50 mark and we just don't want to age gracefully. So with the X39 patch, that's something that I get asked often is who shouldn't use the X39? Well, I always say the people that shouldn't use it are the ones who want to age and want to look old. So if you are somebody that has stem cells and you want to fight the aging process, you should be utilizing the X39 patch.
Yes.
So
And with the X39 patch using that, I know that you explained it really well. You held it up a while ago,
mhm,
and there is a white center like a button.
mhm,
Can you I was fixing to say, can you pull half that off? I meant to get one.
mhm.
Okay. The white in the center is actually what will activate with your body and your stem cells and DNA. Can you explain to everybody what causes that activation to take place or the process?
Yes, it's called phototherapy and or photobiomodulation, but we call it phototherapy so that everybody can understand what it is. So what happens is you have radiation that's generating out of our bodies. And so when you put this patch on, that radiation reflects off of the center of that patch and it shoots certain frequencies down to your body. And with these frequencies, and that's why you have different patches that do different things because there's different frequencies. And those frequencies go through, and that's what starts the or the elevation of that copper peptide that starts the regeneration of the stem cells.
Okay. And to keep that flowing really well throughout the day in your body, what do you think the minimum amount or maximum? I know there's not really a maximum, but what do you suggest for water intake?
Um, Most people say if you are intaking about in ounces, about half of your weight, that's a good thing. So I always, I get out of a morning, I have the 24 ounces, and I try to do 4 of my 24 ounces just to. Now, when I'm working outside, I'm doing a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But we do need to drink a lot of water, and that's something that with these patches, what's happening is it's doing a lot of detoxing. So we definitely need to be drinking lots of water. You're going to find a lot of people, they'll put them on and they're like, man, I'm getting thirsty. And because they do start the detoxing process. And with that detoxing process, sometimes we do see people get a little bit of a headache, and it's not a side effect. It is the detoxing process. And I just had a gentleman the other day, and he's a big guy. And he took a sample and he used it. And like a day later, he got this just horrendous headache. And he's like, man, I don't know. But then a couple of weeks later, he's like, man, I've got to try those again. So he bought in a month's supply. And so I asked him, I followed up with him today. He's been using them for about a week. And he goes, I said, so how's the headache? Because he had told me the day after that he had a headache again. And he said, oh, it went away. He goes, it went away. He goes, so we're over that. He goes, I'm detoxed out and ready to go. So, so he was
Well,
excited. And another gentleman walked in and he goes, I'm all patched up. So they're all getting excited about, wearing it and sharing it and just talking to others. And one of the guys, somebody asked him, they said, well, don't you think it's a placebo? And this guy, he goes, well, no, I don't. He said, but let me tell you what, if a placebo makes me feel this good, I'll pay for that all day long. So,
uh, well, I know for a fact, and I said it on the other video, and then my audience somewhat has heard me say it over and over, throughout a 2-year period, a year and a half period. I was super, super sick, not this past December, but December before last.
mhm.
So it was 2021. And coming off of that illness, I started using the patches because I was lethargic, basically. I mean, all I wanted to do was sleep. And when it got to where I could get back on the water because I knew my body would detox after everything I had kind of went through with an illness. And y'all, I'm telling you, it was night and day difference of how my body reacted once I put those on. And if I forgot to put it on, it would hit me about maybe 11 o'clock. Man, what is wrong with me? I just almost can't even pick my foot up to put it in front of the other one. And I would be needing a nap so bad that I wouldn't even eat lunch. I'd just go lay on the couch and go to sleep. And then it would hit me when I'd wake up, oh, I didn't put my patches on today. And it was like, I'm telling you, made a huge difference. I'm kind of past that being in that critical zone because my body needed the recovery. But
Mhm.
what I do know right now is if I leave them off, my energy level does dip, but I just don't feel as well. It
Mhm.
just feels like I don't know. You know how now this is a girl thing, not so much a guy thing. But when you're in a really big hurry and you've gotta go jump in the shower and you think, "Okay, I don't really have time to shave my legs today," and you shaved them the day before, but you're just like the rest of the day, they just something doesn't feel right, and you're just like, "Oh, man, I should just made time." That's how it feels when I don't wear my patches. Something's just not right. It's just off.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that to be salesy. I'm saying that because of how I function with them on. And
Yeah.
I do know that if you get them, what have y'all seen in the people? And I know y'all have a lot more around you that you've been able to kind of keep tabs on because of the medical
Mhm.
side of
Yeah.
this, when you're in your trade.
Mhm.
What do you feel? Some people I know can put them on and tell a difference in 3 days because
Mhm.
they've had low energy, they've had health issues. But if you have one of your patients that's typically healthy, but they're just would like to have help with, feeling better, rebuilding the system, taking care of the
Mhm.
skin, what do you feel the average timeline could be for someone to start seeing results for some of that?
That is so tough because everybody is so different. We give them a survey. It's a little quick survey. It's so that it's got 7 questions long, and it's like before you put the patch on, you answer all these questions the day after, and that way they see little things going on because everybody wants the home run. If I've
Yeah.
got knee pain, I want my knee pain to go away. I'm not seeing all of these little things around, and another gentleman, I talked to him today, and he's been on it for 4 days. And he was like, the first couple of days I didn't sleep, which is unusual because you generally sleep. But then he started talking. It's just he didn't understand how to sleep because when you're in a REM sleep, it's a whole different sleep. And so when I talked to him about the fact of not knowing how to sleep with the patch because you're dreaming so much, he was like, yeah, that's what I was doing. He goes, but the last couple of nights, he goes, I got it figured out. I'm sleeping. So just little things are, what we see early. But the healthier you are, it does seem like you're not seeing as many things because you don't have as many things wrong on the outside. What's going on the inside, we don't know. My husband's a prime example. He went and had all of his lab work and everything done prior to taking the patch, and nothing was out of line. So, he couldn't compare because everything was within a normal range.
Yeah.
But what he noticed was more, since he physically didn't have the problems right off the bat, what he noticed was more of his energy, his mental clarity,
Okay.
and his sleep pattern. So there's all of the little things that you can pull from that this patch does, this one thing, which is crazy. And being an RN and an MD, we utilized it for a year before we talked to people about it because we wanted to make sure we had our own little study groups going on, going, is this for real? Because when somebody held that up and said it can do, we're like, but it really does. Now, is there a person out there every now and then that's going to take longer than a 90-day period? Because most generally by 90 days, your stem cells, they regenerate on a 42-day cycle. So you've got 2 cycles already in. Most generally by that 90 days, you're going to see something. That's why we always tell everybody, if you give it that 90-day try, that's what we're asking you to do. But some people, it does take longer, especially if they've got something underlying that's going on, that different conditions, that chronic pains and things that are caused by some of your autoimmune disorders and stuff, because we don't claim for anything that that we're curing, treating, preventing. All we're doing is elevating that copper peptide and teaching your body to heal itself. So
Yeah.
but so some of those people, it does take longer. Most of the physicians will tell you that I've worked with that for every decade of life, if you'll utilize the X39 patch for 1 month for every decade of life, that'll get you up to where, if you're 80, you're going to be on it for 8 months before you're seeing the full benefit. But even after that 8 months, you're still going to see things. We've been on them almost 2 years, and my husband still starts seeing things. He's 67 now, going on 68. And it's just like, things just keep getting better. And when patients walk into his office, because he's a treating MD in internal medicine, they're excited when they see him. They're like, Dr. Harwood, what are you doing? And, they're expecting him to say, I don't know what, but he's like, I'm just using this little patch. And, he talks to him for like 2 minutes, and they're so excited. They're like, I want it. I want to try it. Let me, how do I get on this? And so that's what we're seeing. And it's just, like I said, every person is different on how long it does take.
Awesome. Okay. Do you want to touch on X49 tonight, or do you want us to have it on its own?
It's either way, because X49 is kind of the sister patch to the X39.
Well, let's just go ahead and dive in and do a little bit on that then.
Okay. What it is, it's the same type of patch. It's a copper peptide generating patch, but it actually increases a copper peptide called AHKCU. So it's on a little bit different pattern. And it focuses where the X39 does basically your overall body. What the X49 does is it likes to focus your mind, your muscle, and your cardiac system. So a lot of our athletes, when they add that X49 on with their X39, we increase, and we just see so much stuff increasing. We've got charts that'll give you kind of a comparison of what it looks like with just the X49. And then if you add the X49 to your X39, just the difference that it makes. And it's incredible what it does with your stamina, how much even like sit-ups, how many sit-ups you can do, your bike, different, exercises. It's incredible. My husband noticed when he added the X49 on with his X39, that his recovery time was like almost, it just doesn't happen. He doesn't get sore now, and he'll throw extra weights on about once a quarter. He just throws 10 more pounds on and doesn't think about it. And he's not a big guy that, does a lot of weightlifting or anything, but he goes, it's just so easy. And he never has any soreness in his muscles or anything to recover from. Now, I'm the type of person that I want to exercise a whole lot, and then I don't want to exercise at all. And then I really hate it when I restart again, because I know it's going to hurt. And so somebody asked me the other day, they said, well, if you're using the X39, X49 combo and you start re-exercising, what do you expect? And I said, well, the difference for me is being able to walk up the staircase after, 2 or 3 days after I've worked out really hard, with a little stiffness, or crawling up the staircase. So that's kind of the difference, and I would rather have that little bit of stiffness knowing that I did something, as opposed to having to crawl up that staircase. So I'm not scared to restart exercising when I quit exercising, because I do that quite often.
I'm laughing with you, not at you, because
exactly
what happens with me. You go, you have something massive happening, like you're doing, getting ready for an event, or you go travel and you come home and you got to get the laundry and you got to do all this stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's been like 3 weeks since I've done anything. And then you start doing it and you start working out. I guess my goal will be is, can you get up off the toilet without a handrail and crying?
There you go. And it does. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I always tell them. If you can crawl up the staircase, after you exercise, that's when you don't want to restart. But if you can actually walk and you just feel a little stiffness, but by utilizing the patches and stuff, with your exercising and recovery time, I bought in 300 bags of emulsion one day, loaded and unloaded them, and I didn't feel it at all the next day.
Wow.
Because I'm a procrastinator and waited to the last day of the sale. But that's just me. So the other thing with your X49 is it, cardiac wise, when we're looking at our blood pressures and stuff, with the X39, it starts to level out your blood pressures. But when you add the X49 on, there's just such an increase in the difference that it will make in people's blood pressures. Wearing the X39, I know I keep going back and forth, but they are such a complementary couple to have together. The X40 or 39, they say if you wear it for 6 weeks, that if you had done like a cardiac scan and you rescan it, it's going to give the appearance that your cardiac system is 2 years younger. So when you add the X49 on, it's enhancing that so much more. And so that's why, utilizing the two of them together is just, like I said, off the charts when you use them. I don't use one without the other now, and I'll probably always use them. The X49, it's also working on a lot of your things in your brain, and your eyesight and different things, because there's a lot of carryover from the carnosine patch into our X49 patch. But the X49 is just a little bit more comprehensive, and again, elevates that AHK-CU copper peptide. So that's kind of in a nutshell what the X49 kind of does along with the X39.
That's awesome. Well, you've made that easy enough for everybody to understand. Plus, you give the basics of why they work, because that's probably the question I get the most of. I think people in their mind, when they look at it, they think Band-Aid, the little round Band-Aids we had forever. And there's no medicine there unless you take a tube of Neosporin and put a drop in it, or, something like that. And to make people understand, well, it's not liquid. You're not going to feel that. It's kind of like crystals, but you don't really see the crystals. It's kind of hard to make people understand what that patch is and how it works. So I appreciate you explaining that, because in my walk of life, with understanding more and more as I read the scriptures, I truly believe, because I have a friend that's a myofascial release expert, and we talk about the things in the body that it's designed to heal itself. And we talk about the cellular level. We get into discussions that are so deep and so big sometimes with the group that I am safe with, which I don't usually throw this out there on my audience, but this isn't our regular show. Y'all just shut it off if I'm freaking you out or offending you. We've discussed, did Adam and Eve get clothes or did they get skin? When they were in the garden, were they actually living a transfigured life like Christ transfigured, with the disciples, and he became light in a different form right there in front of his disciples? And when it talks about a glorified body, are our bodies so made up of energy and light that this is helping restore something that we actually are innate and what we're supposed to be? So that's where my deep brain goes when I start looking into things like this, and why I understand that frequencies matter, and you talk about it putting off and emitting different frequencies within our cells and in our body. And if you study, why were they commanded to wear linen and not cotton in the temple? Well, if you study the ark, and if it was charged with so much electricity that somebody barely touched it and they dropped dead because it fried them. To understand, we're electrical beings, no matter what. And when people question me on that, I go, have you ever had static electricity?
Yeah.
It's in the air. And you study the Tesla stuff about pulling the electricity out of the air. If you can walk across your floor and shock your friends, or your dog or your cat or dog can shock you, that is what this gets into on how your allowing your body to heal itself when you have something that promotes that frequency and those things in your body. And so I'm not a doctor. I'm just me and I just do me, but I know that they help me. And if any of you are looking for something that are not, another supplement to add that you have to do every day, you want to pop one of these on and go to bed and let it work on you for 12 hours while you sleep. I would just say try them out, see if they work for you. I would tell everyone you need at least 2 or 3 packs of the X39, and I do the X49 with it because those are the ship that you want to be on. And then the lifeboats and life rafts that hang on the side that help the ship, if it had issues, that's your glutathione, that's your other stuff that you can add to it. Those are your
Mhm.
accessories. You don't leave the house without your clothes on, I hope. But if you want to look really sharp, you go put your earrings on, you put your necklace on,
Mhm.
you have the right shoes that match your outfit. Those are your energy patches, your carnosine, your all of that goes on. Those are your cherries on top, in my opinion. Now, you can buy any of those separately. The Aeon, any of that can be done separately. But to
Mhm.
me, you need to get dressed, and that's your 39 and 49.
Yeah. And I always, tell people start with your 39 just because I come from the medical background. See what that 39 does for you, then add your 49 on and see what level you take yourself to with that. Because that way it's not when you're utilizing two things all at one time, you're like, well, which one did what? And that gives
Yes,
you your baseline of what happened with the mother patch, the X39. Then I add that daughter on, which is such a complementary patch and see what level it takes me to.
that's perfectly said. And so I would agree with that 100%. I was wearing X39 probably a couple of months before 49 ever came out. So
Right.
I I
Hmm.
had that experience. So yes,
Hmm.
that's very good. That's very good. And I would also tell everybody moving into the season of fall and flu and yuck and stuff, I would tell anyone that glutathione cannot go wrong on your body, I don't think. I think everybody could use that because our bodies don't necessarily produce enough of that. And that's a supplement that is sometimes hard to track down a good variety of it because you can get it at some health food stores, but I've gotten really picky about what supplements I purchase and where that kind of thing, and it's so much easier just to stick that on and I have for the last probably 5 or 6 days been trying to do the 24-hour thing because I had run out and they came in like at the end of last week. And I do believe now this is from someone that had some lungs that got really probably scar tissued after whatever I went through. Um, I've been wearing it here on my chest, which today was my day off, so I don't have it on my chest. And I seem to have better results when I wear it on my vein right here on my wrist, or I wear it on my chest. But doing the 24 hours, when I wake up, y'all, with having allergies and living in Arkansas and being allergic to trees and dust and everything, and being an outside kind of girl, I breathe better. I notice I'm breathing better when I wake up with it on. Whereas if I just work 12 hours throughout the day, I might not would take notice to that. But waking up and usually being congested from laying and you've let everything swell from laying down and everything, I am noticing it is changing how I wake up breathing. But that's just me. I'm not saying it'll work for everybody else. Just me.
Right. Everybody, like I said, everybody is different. You've got to take your patches and try them on you. I like to wear my glutathione closer to, my ankle. But I don't have breathing problems. My sister, she wears hers faithfully right here because she does have asthma and breathing problems, and it's really, really helped her.
Awesome. That good. I'm not the only one then.
Right. Exactly. Hmm.
And just for everybody, if you're looking to try to figure out how to get Lifewave, My email's at the bottom. It's info@redneckrhapsody.com. And if you're on the Hero channel, I'm still using that to try to keep everybody separate where I can find your emails a lot easier. And if you want to just go to Lifewave, you can go to lifewave.com, Trina Welch, and you can search through a bunch of stuff. But if you know you want to try to order some, you can do the enrollment packs, and that will take you straight to the different packs that you can order your product and stuff. And if you need any help, feel free to email me and let me know, and I will return phone calls if you send me your phone number, and we will help you get what you need for you and get you going. And Miss Linda, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And maybe we will give you off until you get through your water expedition. And hopefully you can get Dr. Harwood on here sometime with us and let him give us, what they've done for him and what he is seeing with those in his life and how they react with him.
I'm sure we can do that.
Awesome. Well, with that being said, everybody, I hope to see you tomorrow, 1:30 Central Time. If you're not Central or you're the other side of the world, y'all just have to figure that out. And I'll have Patriot in the Park with me. So, night, everybody.